Hey, this is René. Welcome to another video on this channel. And in this video, I want to show you a programming way of opening a position at a specified point of time every single day. So let me give you a quick example. We could have, for example, the US 30, the Dow Jones market, and we want to say we want to open a market position every day at where's the market open, should be 50:30 German time, which is 60:30 server time. So maybe you want to say at 16:30 when the market opens, you want to open a sell position every day, for example, to follow the current trend. So this would be a scenario that you can accomplish, or you can trade with this expert advisor that we will program in a second. But first of all, let me tell you some more things. We already have a full course on MQL5 programming. You will find it if you check out the links below this video. There you will find a link to our English speaking website, and there you can find all the information on the MetaTrader 5 masterclass. You will also find a video where you can see all the contents in this course, and this video is not really up to date anymore. This is why I want to give you some more information on the contents. So if we have a look at the overview here of the course, you can see the video on our website ends with a range breakout expert advisor. In the meantime, I already added the files section where you learn everything about working with external files, so for example text files or binary files where you can save and load data from. I added a moving average expert advisor that features a rather complex data structure where we already need this saving and loading mechanism, and I added a topic on the C array classes that make working with arrays and with complex data a lot more easier. So as you can see, the MetaTrader Masterclass features some topics that I cannot explain on YouTube because it would simply be too much. So if you want to have a full course that is suitable for beginners, also make sure to check out the links below this video. But now let us stop advertising and let us jump right into programming. So here we see the MetaTrader 5, and whenever we want to write programs in the MetaTrader 5, we have to click on IDE, which is Integrated Development Environment. And this is the place where all the magic happens pretty much, because here we can create new expert advisors. So these are some old projects of mine. I can close them, or can close everything but this file, and we can click in the navigator. If you do not see the navigator, you can open it by clicking on View Navigator, and there you can find the experts directory. If you click on this and click on New in the upper left corner, you can create a new expert advisor using the standard template. So we click on Next, and we have to provide a name for a program. This might be Time Trader. You can call it whatever you want. Then we click on Next again, and we click on Finish. Please do not be confused if some of these words are in German on my MetaTrader or Meta Editor. For you, it should be in English or your native language. So this is now a skeleton for an expert advisor, and we will see a lot of gray lines, which we can simply erase because they will not impact the behavior of a program. Because all the gray lines, they usually start with these two slashes or with one slash and a star symbol. These lines are comments, and they are only for the programmer or the person that reads the code, but it doesn't affect the program itself. So make sure to click on compile from time to time, because in the moment that you click on compile, the Meta Editor will take your text file pretty much, which is this .mq5 file, and it will transfer it or compile it to a executable file. So if we right click here and click on open containing folder, you will find the files here. So as you can see, we have this MQ5 file and this EX5 file. And if I delete this EX5 file, we only have the MQ5 file left. So the moment I click on compile, it will create the EX5 file, which is then the executable file that we can run in the MetaTrader. So we can already see this program in the MetaTrader, also in the navigator. Again, if you do not see it, click on View, Navigator, and there we can find the time trader. So I could already go ahead and activate it on a chart. But right now there is no programming or trading logic inside, so we will have to take care of this first. So back to the meta editor, and here we first have to give the user a possibility to define the time that he wants to open the trade. Maybe I should explain this step. I deleted the 3 first lines also because these lines are also only a information for the user of the program. So you can see the version, the copyright, and the link, and these lines are defined by the properties here. So if we delete them, if we compile again, you will see the information is gone, but it doesn't affect the program. It's just a information for the user of the program. So what we can do to enable the user to set a time to open trades. So we could say, for example, we create a input variable of type date time. And we can say, for example, this is called open time, like this. So if we compile this, this works. And what this does is it creates a date time input, so a variable that can be modified by the user. If we click on inputs here, you can see there is already a variable available, which is open time. This is the name that we chose. And it has a value. And we can modify this value by clicking on this thing here. And we can, for example, choose the current day. And we can say we want to trade the market open at 16:30, like this. So this would work pretty much. But there was a major issue with this technique because a date time variable, like the one we defined here, it always consists of a year, a month, and a day, and then the time pretty much. So the exact time, like this. And this is one specific point in time. But as I said in the beginning, we want to trade every single day. So we do not only want to trade at one specific day, because in this case, we would have to modify the input every single day, because then the user would have to change the day, of course, every single day. And this is not really what we want. So this is why we cannot use a datetime input. We could choose something like a string input, and we could say that we only want to provide the time like this in a string format. And a string format or string data type is a text data type. So it has letters and numbers and stuff like this. But it is always interpreted as a text by the computer. So this is not, for the computer right now, this is not a time. This is a text. So what we have to do, or what we can do is, for example, we can go into the body of the onInit function, which is one of the predefined system functions. And this function is called whenever the program is started. And what we can do here is we can, for example, print this open time. And you will see it pretty much prints the time. So if we go here and start the program, and we can see 16:30, it will print this here. But if we try to print it as a date time, so as a time pretty much, which is interpreted as a time for the PC, oh, you can see it. I think the PC is, or the compiler or the MetaTrader 5 is clever enough to already assume that this shall be a time. But just to be sure, it would be a good idea to say that you want to transfer this string to a time. And you can do this by using the string to time function. So this would be the safer way of converting a string type time pretty much to a datetime time. Because the datetime format is the format that we will then need for our calculations and for the condition check if we reached this time. Because what we cannot do is we cannot say, for example, the current time is greater than the open time like this. I mean, this should not work. If we compile this, it says true, but what happens if we change the time here? I think it might always say true. Yeah, so the problem is if we compare it like this, maybe we can print it out. So time current will print the current time and open time will print the input, the user input. So if we go like this, we can see currently we are comparing the current time, which is 12:40, to the user input, which is 10:22. And the output is true. And this is correct, of course, because the current time is greater than the user input time. But if we change it to, for example, 1833 as a user input, you can see we still compare the current time, which is 12:41 now. We compare it to 1833, and which is later, of course. So this should not result into true. And if we change this and compare it to this open time variable instead of the user input string type data, you will see now this should work. So as you can see now, the converted string, which we converted to a time, to a datetime data type, this is now can be used for comparing times. So as you can see now it works because he identifies the right time and it is not interpreted as a text anymore. So this is why we have to use the string to time function here to convert our string to a datetime type value. And then we can use this open time variable here and compare it to the current time. And maybe we already switch into the Untick function, which is triggered with every tick. And now we can say something like if time current is above open time, then we want to open a position. And as you can see, I now created a comment here with these two slash symbols here. So we want to open a position here, and maybe we can say open time reached as a little comment for the user. So if we compile this, and there is somewhere a problem. Oh yeah, I should not compare it to the open time string input here. I should compare it to the open time datetime variable here. So if we write like this, now it prints that we reached the open time with every tick. But if we run it in the strategy tester, and you can open the strategy tester by clicking on View, Strategy Tester, you can open and close it. And there you can choose the system that you want to test. And in this case, we choose the time trader, of course. And yeah, this should be fine. So we can just start this program. And what we can see here is nothing. Maybe let's check out another market where I have the data. Oh, this was the wrong testing mode. I should use visualize. So it opens a separate window where we can see what happens. So as you can see here, right now the time is, the day just started. So let me speed it up a little bit. And we can see as soon as we reach the time that we defined as the open time, we will receive, we get this text messages in the journal. So now, of course, we see the messages because we are after the open time. And the messages should start at 16:30 somewhere here. So, I think it skipped the first messages in the journal because I was too fast with my speeding here. I sped it up too quick. But as you can see, if we reach the next day, we now see that the messages start at 16:30 somewhere. So if we, there are just too many messages. But I mean, you can check it on your own PC and you will see that it works. This is a little bit confusing, so maybe we can change it to a comment where we say comment. We can say something like server time, and then we can print the server time, and then we can go to a new line and say open time, like this, where we can print the open time, so we are able to compare it. And since we are now able to realize when we reach the open time, as we realized by looking at the print statement here, we now already figured out that there is a problem because this if condition is true with every single tick, because this Untick function in the MetaTrader 5 is triggered with every single tick. And this is why we should take care of this problem. So we have to make sure that once the signal is triggered, we only trigger it once per day. So what we can do to achieve this is we can say, for example, that we have a global variable which might be datetime last signal, like this. And we want to check if this last signal variable is different than the open time, for example. So we could say if last signal is not equal open time and time current is greater than open time, then we want to print this message. And to make sure that it is not printed again with the next tick, we want to update last signal and we want to store the value of the open time variable inside of it. So this makes sure that only if this open time variable is different than the last signal variable, we check this condition and we check if the time is currently greater than this open time. So this should make sure that if we test again, we only receive or we only print this message once per day as soon as we reach this the open time here. So let me speed it up a little bit, trying to hit the right spot here. Okay, but as you can see, this is working. So now in the upper left corner, we can see the server time and the open time. And in the journal, we only see one text message as soon as we reach the open time. And for the next day, this should also work. So let me speed it up a little bit. We can see next day there is our signal message and we only see it once per day. So this is working just fine. And what we can do now is we can already open the position because this is a really simple, really easy program. So what we can do is we can say we want to open a position, and whenever we want to open a position in the MetaTrader 5, it is the best way to use the ctrade class for this. This is a concept that I explain in full detail in the MetaTrader 5 masterclass, and in the YouTube videos I will just shortly explain what the class does. This is a class that we can include by including a specific file. And you can find this file in the navigator in the include folder. If you click on trade, you will see there is this trade.mqh file, and this is the exact file that we included here into our program. So we are now able to use the ctrade class here, and this class allows us to open positions. For example, we can say we want to use this trade object that I just created, and we say, for example, we want to open a buy position. And therefore, we can use the buy function, which is part of the cTrade class. And there we can provide a volume for our trade, which might be one lot. We have to define a symbol, which can be the chart symbol. And you can say that you want to open on the current chart by using this underscore symbol variable, or just write null like this. I usually go with this because I'm used to it pretty much. So then you have to define a open price. And if you just want to open a market position, you can simply write 0 here. Then we have to define a stop loss and a take profit, and I will go with 0 for the moment. And you can provide a comment. For example, we can say time trader like this. This would be the chart, the position or order comment. So if we compile this, this is already enough code to open a buy position every day at the market opening. So as you can see here, there is a buy position is at 16:30, and the next day there should be another buy position. There is not another buy position because we do not have enough money in this account to provide the margin for this. So maybe we should not open a complete lot, but we should rather go with, for example, 0.1, and this will now work, and we can open a position every single day. What we have to take care of is we pretty much have to close the position at some time. And maybe we even want to provide a TP and a SL. But for the moment, you can see we open a buy position every day now. This is working, and we make profits. This is just for this example. Of course, you will not win every trade. Okay, so let's take care of the position closing. And maybe we can say that we just copy this line here, and whoopsala, we say that we also want to have a close time like this. We can say, for example, at, I don't know, 20, somewhere after the open time, we want to close the trades. So what we can do is we can not only calculate the open time, but also the close time. And the process is completely the same, of course. We just use the time string to time function because it is an easy way to work with string time inputs. So let us write our comment here with close time. And then for the process of closing the function, it is pretty much the same. So we can just check if the time is currently greater than the close time. Because in this case, we want to close the open positions. And we can say, for example, that we want to store the position ID of this position that we just opened and store it inside of a variable. So we can say we want to create a global variable here, which is of type unsigned long, which is just a pretty big number. And we can say this is our ticket now. So what we can do is we can check if this trading operation was successful. So we can just check if we were able to open a buy position, and then we want to update our ticket variable. So we say trade result order, and this is another function of the cTrade class, which will return the order that was the last order that was sent by this trade object. So we just store this order in our ticket variable here, and maybe we can even print it in the chart in our comment here. So what we can do now is we can use this ticket variable, and first of all we want to check if it is greater than 0, and if it is greater than 0, then we can assume that we have a open position. So we go ahead and say if trade close position close position close, oh, it's position close, and we can provide the ticket as a parameter for this position close function here. So if we do it like this, then we can say, or we can assume that we closed this position, and then we can reset our position ticket to 0. And if we are not able to close this position, then we should first of all make sure that we do not have a position. Or it would be an even better idea, I think, to first of all, before we close the position, we check if we have an open position. So we can do this by using the position select by ticket function, which will select a open position. And if we are able to select a open position, then we go ahead and say if trade position close. If we are able to close this position, then we want to reset the ticket number in the variable. And if we are not able to select a position, then the position should be closed anyways, so we can just reset the ticket variable. Okay, so this should work. This should already be enough code to, oh, there was one warning. Yeah. Okay, this is a problem that happens if you choose a variable name on a global scale, which is ticket, because this ticket variable is already used in the trade.mqh file. So we can just say position ticket, and this will fix the warning. So just make sure to exchange every piece of code where you can where you use this ticket variable before. So if we compile this, the warning should be gone, and we can now run this program and yeah, open a position every day and close it every day. So as you can see, we open a position and we close a position. So this is working already, and we can now trade every single day at a specific point of time and also close this position at a specific point of time. Doesn't really matter if it is in profit or if it is currently losing, we will just close it at a specific point of time. And I already said we can also provide a TP and a SL value for our positions. So what we can do here is, and what I usually like to do is, I create some input variables. For example, for the lots, this is always a good idea because it gives more flexibility to the user. And for example, we can say we want to have a TP points variable and a SL points variable like this. Or maybe the TP shall be the double amount than the SL. And then we go back to our piece of code where we open the position, and now we want to calculate the TP and the SL price, which is a double type price, because the double type variables are also can store values that have a decimal point like this, and prices usually have decimal points. So this is why we use a double variable for TP and SL calculation. So what we want to do here is, first of all, we need the ask price for the current symbol, because for a buy position is always open at the ask price. So we go with a symbol info double function, which is a function that we can use to receive information about a specific symbol, and it has two parameters. First of all, we have to provide a symbol that we want to receive the information for. We usually go with underscore symbol because we, in most cases, want to have information for the current chart symbol. As a second function parameter separated with a comma, we have the symbol underscore ask identifier. You will see, or you will have a preview over all the available identifiers here. So you can, for example, choose the symbol bit also, which would then return the bid price. But in this case, for a buy position, we will need the ask price. And what we will do now is we, first of all, just to make sure that there are no problems with double numbers which can appear from time to time, we want to round this value. So we just say ask is equal to normalized double, which is a function to round a floating point number to a specific accuracy. And you can, of course, read about everything in the reference. Just click on F1 on your keyboard or click on help, I think, and MT5 reference. And there you will find the index search option, where you can search for example, normalized double for a specific function, and you can read everything about this function there. So make sure to use the reference from time to time. So now we rounded it to a precision of digits, and digits, again, we can read it in the documentation. It just returns the number of digits after a decimal point for the current chart symbol. So now we want to calculate the TP price. So we just add our TP points to the ask price. And the TP points, of course, are 1000. So this would not make sense because we are currently working in the euro US dollar. And if we add 1000, that would be a euro US dollar price of 1001 and something. So a invalid price. So we have to multiply this TP points variable with underscore points, which is another system variable which returns the point value of the current chart symbol. And the point value is always the smallest possible price change for the current chart. So for example, in this case, it would be 0.00001, and multiplied with 1000, it would be 1000 multiplied with 0.001. It would equal to this, I think, which would then be a valid price change for the euro US dollar. And just to be sure, you should always round prices. And we do the same or a little bit modified calculation for the SL. So we subtract the SL points from the ask price here. And we, of course, round it again. And now we can go ahead and exchange these three function parameters. So first of all, we provide the ask price as an open price. This would not really be necessary. You can also provide 0, but I like to provide the ask price here. Then we have to provide the SL and the TP. And if we compile this, you can see now our positions are open with a TP and a SL price. So if we fast forward to the first position opening, we can already see that the position has a TP and a SL, which is pretty far away. So this is a little bit too much, I think. But we can just go ahead and change the inputs here. For example, we can say 200 points for a TP, 100 points for a SL. And if we run the program again, we can see now the prices are closer to the open price. So let me fast forward to the second day, and there you can see, yeah, again. And you can of course test it in your own MetaTrader, and you will see now you always find a TP which is 200 points away from the open price, and a SL which is 100 points away from the open price. And this is it. This is already working. So you can see it is kind of easy to write a small program with just roughly 60 lines of code. And I will explain everything in a second. And this will also already be a fully working program. One thing, this is not like 100% crash safe and everything. So if you use this in a live trading account, make sure that you implement some safety mechanisms before, or make sure that you watch the program really closely. Because, for example, if the computer crashes, you will use all your data because there is no safety mechanism. You will learn about safety mechanisms and how you can handle these problems in the MetaTrader 5 masterclass. But first of all, let me walk you through the code one more time. First of all, we include the trade.mqh file, which will give us access to the ctrade class. So we need to do this because if I erase this line and compile this, there's a problem because the ctrade class is unknown here. So we have to include this file here to have access to the ctrade class here. Afterwards, we define several input variables. And these input variables are usually identified by this input modifier before the variable type. So if you write this input before any global variable, and global variables are the variables that are outside of any function body, like these three beautiful functions here, then you will have a variable that can be modified if the user activates the program. So you can see if I just drag the Expert Advisor to a chart, it will open the settings, and there you can see I can modify all the input variables here. So this is a great way to provide flexibility to the user of a program. And there we have a double type variable which is called lots. Oh, and I should use it in the source code here. This can be used as a first parameter for the by function here. So this will give the user the possibility to just say how many lots he wants to open with every trade. And then we have two integer variables, input variables. The integer data type is just any number, pretty similar to the long data type, but long numbers can be even bigger. So integer numbers are a little bit limited, so they take less space in the memory of your PC. And it should be fine because you do not need too big numbers for TP and SL points. These are the variables where the user can define the distance from the open price or the current ask price to the take profit and the SL. And then we have two more inputs, which are string inputs. And this is something new in this video because we now have a text input, which we then convert to a datetime number, pretty much, because a datetime variable or number is just a huge number, which is the number, the amount of seconds starting from the 1st January, I think, of 1970. So we use these text numbers here, and make sure that you always keep this format. This should always be hour, colon, minute. You could also provide seconds here. But you cannot provide something like this. This would probably result into an error. So then we have three more global variables, and make sure to realize that these are not input variables. So these variables cannot be changed by the user. These are variables that we will need for our program, to temporarily store data inside. Or this is an object variable which we have to use because we want to have access to the functions of the ctrade class. Yeah, and then we have the onInit function, which is empty, the onDinit function, which is also empty, so we could also erase them. This would not make any difference, but I usually keep them because they are like the base functions of a program. Then we have the Untick function. This is the function that is called automatically by the system whenever there's a new tick in the Expert Advisor, or in the chart where the Expert Advisor is attached to. And there we first of all convert our text inputs here using the string to time function. And we convert these text inputs to datetime type numbers pretty much. And we store them in two datetime variables called open time and close time. And we then use these variables to build conditions to check if we reached one of these times. So we first of all check if we reach the open time. And before we do that, we check if the last signal global variable here is different than the open time variable. Because this is our way to check if we already generated a signal for the current date. Because if this is valid and we generate a signal, we update the last signal variable. So this is to make sure that the value of the last signal variable is only different to the open time variable value once per day. Then we have a little print message here. And then we calculate prices for the ask price, the TP, and the SL. This is just mathematical calculation. And one thing you have to make sure to always round your numbers if you want to use them for position opening or for position modifications, because this may prevent some errors. And then we use the by function, which is part of the ctrade class, so we can access it using our trade object variable here. And we provide several parameters. We have to provide several parameters for this function. First of all, the volume, which is provided by our lots input variable, then the symbol, which is just the chart symbol that we can provide using the underscore symbol variable, then the calculated ask price, the SL and the TP, and a comment for our order or position. And yeah, if this worked, then we update our position ticket variable. So we store the resulting order inside of it, because we will need it later if we reach the close time. Because there we check if we have an open position, or we check it using the position select by ticket variable. And if we have an open position, we use our trade object variable to close this position. And then we just have a handy comment here, which will always keep us updated over the data that is calculated and stored inside of this expert advisor. So pretty small, pretty neat program here, but it is doing the job. So we open a position every day and we close it every day, and we even have the possibility to reach the take profit or the stop loss price. So yeah, hope you like the program. And this is a program which is, as I said, it is not really finished. So you can work on it. Maybe you want to open a sell position. So you could exchange this or add another block here where you open a sell position. So make sure to play around with this code and maybe you learn something. So see you next time. Have a great time. Have good trades. Bye-bye.